Hello and welcome to another episode of my Not Your Average Bible Studies. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and this is session 19. I am in chapter 10, and here we are in crucial ground, I feel, picking back up around the centered topic of truth and how pivotal I feel it is a point to make at the very start, that drawing a parallel in line to Christ and Jesus and his teachings, the Father, the kingdom of heaven, and the light, all running parallel with the truth, the word truth, and what is true and honest and right and good. And to remember that always, and to try to hold as a variable place setting and offering that continual open fluidity to where we can exchange the word truth for Jesus, and for when he references himself, his way, the Father, the Father's way, this word his and him, and me, and to trust in me. Because I believe strongly that is the real point. You know, that's my feelings and standing. That's how I choose to interpret these words and what I am seeing and will be reading them from and speaking them on. Other people have made these idols, these figureheads, very external versions, so separate from me, from the individual, from from others. And I personally I don't appreciate that very divided, restrictive view. So if you are new, and this is the first episode you've ever listened to, I'm going to be jumping right in at verse 33, 34 of Matthew 10. And this is, as titled, Not Traditional. I'm coming and reading from a non-traditional stance. I'm not Christian traditionally. I didn't grow up in that setting. I'm from a very neutral sort of background. I have some exposure points of church-like things, but I'm mostly sort of a neutral person. I've no faith background, really. Coming to this now in my later years, third decade of my life, wrapping up here, and finally, after reading lots of other belief structures, spirituality, other religions and theologies, and even other gospels, sort of, I don't have much of an Old Testament, too much of an Old Testament background, when I say other things, but, I've read, I'm not going to go through my book list here. If you're interested, you can certainly look at other initial recordings, sessions 1 and 2, and even the disclaimer videos that I put out. I'll try to remember to put links in the comments or description to those if you are new and interested in hearing my background and my take on generalities. I don't want to give too much time to that, just to be respectful of all of our time here today. Oh, speaking of, it is April 6th, Sunday, 2025. I forgot to mark that at the heading, but we'll leave it there because I'm, with all transparency, recording straight away without hopefully too many pauses or interruptions or anything today in my little time window. So, speaking of windows of time and jumping into things, maybe we should just get right into it, since I gave my truth disclaimer already. And for those of us who are not new, and this is a weekly practice, I'd really like to stay in a good atmosphere and place and keep it on topic, right? So let's jump in. 34, I will pick up at. Think not that I came to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Now, just briefly, when I first read this, I thought, wow. Much like the first time I ever saw the flipping of the tables kind of thing, and heard about Jesus speaking about usury and the sort of Pharisee and the way that things were being run that he didn't agree with, I thought, wow, what a hippie, what a counterculture against the man kind of stance to see in a figure that I didn't, previously would have think it was completely passive, non-aggressive, and also not politically involved whatsoever, and how very wrong come to be that, no matter how we try, no matter how spiritual or pure we want to become, it's impossible not to be socially, politically, involved in the happenings in the world around us. And then to think of the times are so similar to now, with the apocalyptic fall of empire theme in play, that how can you not be outraged about the corruption? How can, if you really honestly are seeking truth, if you're about the truth, if your truth is in alignment with yourself, and therefore you're seeking a world of truth around you, to help others find theirs, I mean, how can you look in the face of such blatant corruption, these external manifestations that are so coagulated with evilness, and not do something about them? Same as seeing people, the disease coagulating in a different way within body vessels of people in the mind, body, spirit complex of individuals, seeing how you could heal and help those injustices, really what they are, but they're also self-harm and bad systems and bad working, bad energetics and bad laws to, run systems on. And as a healer and as a master of energy, how could you not help correct those systems? But at the same time, correction of systems doesn't mean what people sometimes think it means, and it's not just a peaceful, happy thing. Just like a disease is not just all of a sudden happens. It's an accumulation over time that's been allowed to accrue in a negative alignments. Hoarding or stashing away or whatever is the case that happens. These accumulations of unhealthy manners aren't singular occurrences, and yet we're seeking and expecting singular solutions, peace and happiness, and this sort of just, again, it's cutting yourself short, because when we think of things from a place of unconditional love and we truly want what's best for all of us and for ourselves, we realize we're capable of a lot. We have great power. Why would we want to undercut ourselves? These things are, people look at 7 deadly sins and all these kind of things and as some kind of burdensome restriction and a disallowance of, but it's not, in fact, because when we look to explore manyness and we want full discovery to our best potentials, to be a part of positive systems that have positive potentials that feel good, why are we going to want to be in these self-serving ways, right? A part of lies, seeing others lying to themselves, just sugarcoating things and just, skating over. You can't allow those. You don't want those types of things. See the deep value in diving deep. And of course, there's a peaceful way about it. It is a sword. It is a cutting through. We have to dive deep. So I really appreciate how he says, I come not to send peace, but a sword. It's, again with the truth and what it is to be of the truth and to speak the truth. And it's in the times that it's cutting through. It's an imperative working. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. Now, even just think of what we've been through in the last 5 years, speaking on truth and what it is to tell your own truth, to stand for truth, to stand for what you think is right or wrong, and how many families and close quarters were divided by that infringement, by the fact that some of us saw abuse and infringement, lies happening, and asking us to go along with them and asking us to harm ourselves and others. And those of us who didn't want to, those of us who stood for saying, no, we feel this is incorrect, this is wrong, I will not do that. And it did set us against, and still has. And there's so many who want to just forget that happened, or that there was a line drawn in the sand at that time. But in fact there really is, and it's clear, and it's lies and truth, and that's what it's based on, and it's very obvious, and it's really has completely segregated and separated me from my former life, former past, and set me on a whole different world and path. It's interesting the way the truth comes through and manifests in different concept symbols, scenarios, different archetypes and people for different timelines and different playscapes. It sets me off contemplating a lot. I wonder if, I'm sure there are others who feel the same exact way as this, and who have over these last few years especially. I know I've spoken to a few. If you're out there and wondering, then no, you're not alone too. I'm here. And again, just as a reminder here in these next verses, to say, he that loves me, I think it's loveth the truth, to speak their truth, to love yourself, to love your own highest good. Because I think Jesus in those days and these days, to be confronted with jabs and lies and masks and scamdemics and hyper-inflated false sniffles and colds, making people afraid of everyone and making people police each other, and now the surveillance all upon us, and the digital prison and open air cattle farm-esqueness that they're pushing on the mainstream on all people, and the total degradation and the defamation of the planet and organic life and rightness to free organic evolution and growth. And I think, if he would be just the same. I dare say I could speak for rightness and truth in this. I mean, and I think that, to love those things and to call all of that goodness organic, right to life, as God, as me, as Jesus would call himself in these days and times, to say that I love these things, those things, more than my father, more than anyone. And I did, and I do. And in fact, thank God my husband and my children, my sons, my husband felt the same. And my sons allow us to have a strong footing for my sons, to raise them in the light of truth, for them to want to stand in theirs and to seek it, and to see the lies and the nonsense and the absolute circus show upside downness of the world, and the mockery, the blasphemy that really it is. I'm so grateful for all that, but it has, and it does set us against others in our lives. The direct tension of these feelings, and all of the many, many, many cracks and problems and tiptoes and the dances and the elephants in the rooms and all these things that it brings forth with it. But I also don't live in a direct vicinity with any family members. I don't have to really go through that on a day-to-day thing. See them a couple times a year maybe, and talk on the phone a couple times a month, and that's it. And it's difficult as is with that. So I really understand these words. I really do. And I'm so happy the household of mine is peaceful, and the household that I live in, the direct world that I live in, is encompassed in light and seeking truth and goodness. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. There it is. Yes, again, thank you. I love to hear these things in a different wording and to hear the word spoken, because yes, that's what we've done, is picked up our cross and took it, and and we bear it. And we have for these 5 years, my goodness. It's what a lonely, really walk. And oh my gosh, here we are up to Easter as well, 2 weeks before. It's what a heavy, heavy yoke it is. But it's worth it. It's such a gratifying, isn't it not? If you're listening and you know, I'm sure you know then, and it is worth the bearing and the strength, and my legs are strong. I feel a great strength in it, so I can't complain. I feel, dare I say, I feel as best as I could put a best foot forward to be worthy of it in the smallest sense. I am doing that. I wouldn't claim I am it, and I know I'm not my highest, best good if I make mistakes each day, but I am seeking it and I want for it. And in that today, I dare to say it is enough. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. And that is so true, and I do feel, just like I said, it's a whole different life. And nowadays, to come around to the New Testament and to come around to a renewal of a new spiritual awakening, to where I've already been 10 years, 15 years on this sort of awakening journey, and having many different spiritual awakenings and tapping into different unfolding, enveloping discoveries of the self. These words are really deep. You see what a master he is, and also respect of how hard the work is, and eternal student are we all, and to have that camaraderie, and to have that that great knowing that yes, these things are worth dying for. They are worth giving up. They are worth the great exile and the lonely road that it is. It might feel lonely, but we are not alone. And it has to be lonely, for you do it alone, for no one else can do it with you. It's the individual seeking is unique to each one of us. And yet when we do it alone, we're with the Father, and we're never alone. And we do it in His great light always, and therefore that's the great enjoyment of it. And it's again what I feel Jesus always speaks about, and what He speaks to me and individually, and that I share out as my own version of His teachings and versions of my own teaching here and learnings. Teachings I'm receiving. Not a teacher of but I'm a student of. I'm a mere student of these things. But it's something that when you give up all, when it's your rock bottom, when it's your darkest night, when you feel, it's starvation, it's a quest of thirst and an expiration moment, and your thirst is quenched, your hunger is no more, you are fulfilled, you have this cessation of worth and value that is totally attained. It's that abundant surplus. That box is checked. No more. It's like, it's unspeakable unless you know it. Anyways, back to the verses, right? Let's see, we're at 39, I believe. Yes, he that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. For he that receiveth the prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. Again, the masters, the two sides, and what are you intending as your retribution? What are you truly is your attention and intention aligning with? Where is your heart at? You know, truth is only one thing. There's only one truth in it. And whoso shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water, only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall no wise lose his reward. And this is, you know, an interesting line here that I won't, it's, to me, you know, I will probably go and look a little bit deeper into context and phrases and what, you know, others to say about these things, because like I've mentioned in prior sessions, some of this stuff, I don't know if it's just because I lack the traditional background and I lack the whole story here completely, that things seem a bit disjointed and seem like verses skip or have no transitory contextual sort of point to them. And again, this seems to be, and again, it's on the second page of my Bible too, so the way I read it is a little bit disjointed in itself, to carry on from 41 into 42, but it does seem a little bit in it, almost as like a different reference, you know. He references the little ones quite often, and I like that, and I wonder as well, there's the entire sort of metaphor of the children of God, of course, and the fact that he references Father and the Son of, so constantly giving us that depiction that we are the children of the Father. But then he does mention the little ones and children often, and we see that as our actual little children, you know. And then there's the other depiction of it being of innocence and those sort of the conscious awareness that's not as intuitively awakened as others. Those who are more easily fooled because they have a naivety of understanding of metaphysics, of deeper symbology and things, you know. But either case, and in both cases, because you couldn't, I don't think, there's some young children who are very much deeper in aspects, probably more evolved and deeper than I am even, and or Jesus, or, you know, older people. There's so you know, there's giving space to understanding that perhaps it can be not just speaking about children or you know, young humans, but also young in the mind, and older adults who are younger in mind. But I do feel he's, you know, it's mentioned quite a few times about the truth, the way that we pass on our teachings, our understandings, and instructions, and how we do relate to others, you know, especially if we're in a point of authority, or if someone's looking up to us or looking to us for instructions. If we are honorably teaching our truth in positive alignment or not, we are actively seeking to manipulate, to shade, to cast down fragments of truth in a manipulative way in order to control the reaction and responses of others, you know, or to feel powerful, or to feel in a certain, you know, in a certain pivotal stance, you know. And I really appreciate, the constant teachings that he offers to his disciples and to others, to teach them to be honest and try to stand on equal footing, and to know where their service is coming from so that they can offer positive service. And through positive service, we have miracles. It's unexplained, amazing happenings beyond our cognitive recognition right now, because we have certain mindset and certain laws about the way that the world should work. And much like, the people of his day and of that time, they're set in their own sort of ways as well. So to see workings of positive systems and miracles the way that he offers, and just in speaking alone, so different. And it holds such a responsibility to try to flavor it in a nice, positive, unconditional, loving way, because it really is truly in that way. It's not bias, and it's not, to put rose-colored glasses on, or to force anybody even into love or feeling good. We don't want to force anybody, and nobody wants to be forced into that. But I think when people allow themselves the openness to remember it, they want it for themselves. And when they get it and they remember about it, then they feel comfortable in remembering, oh yeah, by extension, of course, I do want everyone to feel this way too. But, we can get into these self-serving delusions, I think, that block us from these things, of course. And with that, that's the closure of Chapter 10, so I guess I'll leave it there for now, and pick it back up with 11 for next week. Almost at a half an hour, so thank you for listening and joining me. If it is Sunday, thank you for enjoying your Sunday with this sacred ritual as well. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day it is, or place and space. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for joining me. If you're looking for anything in the meantime, you can always find me on my website, amariespeaks.com, or over on Telegram under Amarie Speaks, where I share daily tips and infographics, motivational things of positivity. So thank you for your audience, for your contribution to our collective as well. We certainly would not be the same without you. We could not be the same without any of us, right? So thanks for being a part of this, and I'll catch you next time.